Mr. Booth.
I just wanted to say this. After our public hearing tonight, I kept hearing that we as commissioners had worked and talked and read in the newspaper about closing schools. And I'm not going to do as Commissioner Richardson do. I'm not going to ask anybody to state their position, but I'm going to state mine. I have never been to a meeting about closing any school in Beaufort County. I want to say it again. I have never been to a meeting about closing any school in Beaufort County. Now, if nothing else is heard or nothing else is read, I want the public in Beaufort County to know what I just said. I have never been to a meeting about closing any school in Beaufort County. EdTech, Northside, S.W. Snowden, I don't know where this bull come from. If it happens, as we as commissioners, according to the paper that I read and the phone calls that I got last week in Asheville, I want to set the record straight. I have never been to a meeting in reference to closing any school in Beaufort County. Thank you.
Go home tonight.
Well, she knows.
Commissioner Waters.
This is just a follow-up with Commissioner Booth. I think for the people that are here, that are still here, thank you for being still here, and those people that are watching on TV, a lot of things were said tonight as it related to the budget, and specifically to the schools. I want to clarify the NC State study that was done. We did pay for that. But we were there when the information was presented. There were some questions about the numbers. The numbers were given to the NC State group by the Beaufort County Schools. It was not information given by the county commissioners. The Beaufort County Schools budget for 2018-2019 was local, state, and federal was $67,105,000. Let me repeat that. $67,105,000. Now, in our proposed budget, we're not cutting any money to the school system. People have read the newspaper and they're saying we're cutting $2 million. We're not cutting any dollars. So they're getting the same money from us as they got last year. So when you bring people in and you say that they're going to lose their job, I don't get that. I just don't get it, because we're not cutting the dollars. So the school board must be doing something on their own as it relates to that. One other thing, they came to us and asked for a 3% raise. We're giving our county employees a 2% raise. I will never vote to give the school employees 3% and only give our county employees 2%. Here again, I think we've done a great job looking at the budget, and I think we've treated the school fairly. We have not, the first time that I've heard anything about closing the tech center was in the newspaper. There was never any discussion about closing the tech. If you talk to a school board member, they don't know anything about that. So I don't know where that came from. And that's what triggered the Golden Leaf comment about we don't know whether we should get grant money or not. So there was some misinformation out there tonight, and I just want to make sure that the public understands. I personally support the school system, and I don't like it when people take personal attacks and think that I'm trying to cut $2 million from the budget. We were being asked to do some things like increase their fund balance. The state just says they only have to have 8%. They've never told me what their fund balance is. We had to send back and ask for additional information to break down on numbers that we got. So I think we've done our due diligence, and I think we treat them fairly at this point. I'm willing to consider a change, but I'm going to have more information before I'm willing to do that. I've never said let's close Northside, Southside, S.W. Snowden, the tech center. I mean, that's all come from the newspaper and interviews. Nobody's called me and asked me about that part of the budget. Thank you for your listening.
presume we're not voting for the budget tonight, okay? Am I hearing that? We're not gonna do that? Well, I would like for y'all to take the next week to think about this and think on what has transpired tonight and what you guys read in the Washington Daily News and what you've heard from some of your constituents. And think about the misinformation that you say has been accorded to you in this meeting and in the town of Washington and maybe in some sectors of Beaufort County. And think about what it would be like if you did not have these meetings filmed and the public seeing them. And all you had was the information or misinformation that was being bandied about in the community. Now, this is why we started filming these meetings back in 1996, is because what actually transpired in these meetings and what said was transpired in these meetings were two different things often. So think about that again before you cut filming these meetings and putting these meetings out where the public can see them easily.
I had the last one. Talking about closing schools, this board, I don't know of anybody on this board who said anything about closing any schools. And I'm gonna say this about Hood. The only person that's ever talked about closing any schools was Hood, and that was way back when. And so where this stuff is coming from now, I don't have a clue. But I'm going to say this one last thing. The show that the superintendent put on this evening was very, very tacky and tasteless. It was uncalled for. He should have just stood flat-footed and told the truth. Thank you.